Hey, good afternoon. It's 1:21 p.m. It is February 24th. It is Monday morning, and so everyone is probably at work right now. For all you clock watchers, you probably want to hurry up and get off from work and get home, make some dinner, sit back with your family, relax a little bit, whatever. So I'm here plugging away, doing what I have to do, looking for work, and just taking a break. So I wanted to make this video and talk a little bit about, humility and spirituality and how people sometimes perceive me. And, I've had people, when you are dealing with people who want to challenge you or question you, often they're doing this because they have a certain sense of insecurity and they feel like they want to get their point across. And I'm not mentioning any names or anything like that. But, in the past, I have been accused of someone who's being arrogant, and in fact, that's not true at all. I'm not an arrogant person. I do believe in keeping distance and protecting my space, my environment, my life. And that's nothing wrong with that. You have to set boundaries in your life, okay? There are certain people that come into your life who aren't good for you. And sometimes when you make a stand and you say things like, well, I'd rather not have anything to do with you, then they think, well, who do you think you are? Or if they put you in a situation where you have to explain yourself and you're successful in explaining yourself, meaning they want to challenge you and they try to find fault with you or whatever, and then when you're able to come up with logical, reasonable explanations that are based on facts or whatever, then because their narcissism is what it is, then they're going to be like, well, who do you think you are? That sort of thing. When you didn't ask to be in the disagreement in the first place, okay? So no, I'm not arrogant. You know what I mean? I have my issues about me. I have my flaws, and I'm well aware of those. But I'm not arrogant. But I do believe in associating with people who are going to help me in my life path, meaning they don't have to help me monetarily, they don't have to help me like lift furniture or anything like that. But I'm saying is relationships of all kinds, friendships, even acquaintances that come in contact with me have to be able to communicate with me in a way where they're respectful of my life, and I in turn am respectful to their life. We don't enforce, or we don't try to inflict our views on one another. And that's hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people have it in them to be argumentative. They just do, okay? But this is something that I think we learn I don't know, it's funny because, when you're growing up, we learn in school, we learn through our religious practices, whatever that might be, that we're supposed to be peaceful people. We're not supposed to do these things. But instinctively, people behave this way. And it's a very animalistic nature that needs to be tamed, okay? There are certain things that I like, and, I find it to me, I find it surprising when other people can't see how great something is. Like, for example, felt art. Now, some people think, well, felt art, this is a hobby of mine, okay? It's not something I would go into for a career, because that would be absurd. I will say that felt is a material that, I don't like to use the word disintegrates, but it becomes frayed easily if you use it a lot. Because I make a few coin purses out of felt. I've made wall hangings work fine with felt, but certain things, it's not a very durable fabric. I mean, it stays, okay, but it starts to crumble and peel. So you get these little lint balls or whatever that come on it. But it's a great hobby, okay, and it's fun, and I would say it's pretty easy to do. And, you see some people, and they might scowl at it, and you're like, I don't see how you could scowl at something like this is an amazing thing. I just accept the fact that they don't like it's not for them, and I move on. Some people want to, really bang it in your head that this is whatever it is they're into. Like, for example, maybe they're into, I don't know, knitting. Somebody suggested I get into knitting. And they're so adamant about, knitting is great, and they just want to harass you and drill this in your head over and over and over again as to the benefits of knitting, why you should, stop doing this, don't sew, knit, or whatever. This is an insecurity on their part, okay? And really, when you are content with what you're doing in your life, you don't see the need to try to influence other people in doing what you're doing, okay? That's a very big sign of insecurity. I understand, like for the woman my age, that some of my little hobbies are something that a lot of people would. I don't see an age limit to my hobbies. I really don't. Okay, because like I said, there's a lot of people who make cartoons. Okay, although I will say that cartoons were originally for adult audiences. Okay, most of the cartoons that were originally made were based on adult themes, like whether they be political. Some of them were based on propaganda. Some of them were based on kind of risque type adult conversations that children really shouldn't have. Okay, so obviously we know that cartoons were not originally made for children. Okay, but still, certain creative outlets that we tend to use or do for our own personal pleasure or entertainment doesn't have an age limit to it. Okay, it would be one thing to actually, I don't. When it comes to your own personal hobbies, my personal opinion, you do what gives you joy, okay? And it doesn't need any explanation. Sometimes we have people in our lives that want to see us in a completely different way. And I always say to these people, if this is the kind of person you want, then you need to seek out that person, okay? Because it will never benefit you to bend to the will of someone else when you're not going to have any sort of fulfillment out of it at all. The only thing you're going to do is be dominated by a particular person who has no feelings for you, okay? So you have to use your discretion, and you have to, pick your people in your life that really care about you, okay? And it's hard because a lot of people really don't. They might like you on the surface because everybody can smile. Okay, and by the way, when it comes to smiling, when people are smiling with their mouth, but it doesn't come across in their eyes, you've seen that fake smile. Like, yeah, those kind of fake, you can read faces, okay? There's a lot of those people in this world, okay? And you have to find the people whose eyes match the mouth, okay? And they're hard to find, but in the meantime, you got to keep your mind and your eyes straight on the path of your road, okay? And it's hard. It's very hard because sincerity is something that is very rare. And some people say, well, that's something that's going on nowadays. Nowadays, people have always been crooked. They've always been, okay? That's not new. It's not something that just changed or in the last few years. People have always been ruthless, okay? And so what I'm basically saying, why I'm making this video, is because I'm on a little break here, and I wanted to talk about, when you are fulfilled spiritually, meaning like, I know that this was a religious issue, okay, and, as I gave examples before based on the Bible about how you're supposed to go about encouraging other people to seek your spiritual path, okay? Sometimes people use force, like they want to enforce their ideas, their views, their thoughts, whatever. And I use the example of knitting, okay? Some people want to force you to see things through their eyes, based on religion. So instead of using, lifestyle tactics and the true path that you're supposed to use by them setting the example and not faking the example, I'm saying is they lead a good life, exemplary life. This is what they do, and then you notice that you're like, well, they got this in order, this is what happened, and you start to become impressed by who these people are, and then you say, this person nobody's righteous on this world, but they're darn close. And you follow that path because you know that their lifestyle is giving them the sort of enrichment that a human being needs in order to survive. So true spirituality will reflect that, okay? And when I say true spirituality, there's a difference, okay, between spirituality and religious, okay? Religion is like we call belonging to a certain group, like maybe Methodist, Protestant, Baptist, and they all have their good points to them, okay? But, we do have to understand that some of these doctrines vary. They vary, okay? That's not to say that they're bad. I'm just saying is that, like, for example, in this case, where the whole church thing was going, being enforced and talking about going to church, nobody specified, well, which church, okay? Because everybody who got involved in this belonged to different denominations, which goes to show you that this was not really a matter of a religious thing. It was kind of a stupid thing that was not well thought out. You see what I'm saying? So the idea of Jesus was that we were supposed to walk in his footsteps. Okay, now we do live in the modern age. Okay, Jesus didn't have computers, he didn't have Google Docs, he didn't have all the things that we have nowadays. We live in a modern age. Okay, that doesn't mean that we have to go back to times where we don't use technology. Some people take it to that extreme. Okay, some people take it to that extreme. Some people don't want to even have electricity in their home or any modern appliances or any sort of conveniences that we have today. Okay, some people want to take it to that level. Okay, they want to live a very minimalistic lifestyle, and you know what? That's their choice. Okay, if they themselves feel closer to God that way, then that's their choice. But there is nothing scriptural that says that you have to. But you one thing is for sure, you have to make sure that you don't get, caught up in materialism, to where materialism is like the main number one thing in your life, where it's like, because those things are a part of the system that governs the world, and people who truly follow God aren't going to be a part of the world. We have to be in it, we have to function in it, but we don't have to develop the mindset in it. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to spirituality and stuff, I feel as though I'm content where I'm at. I'm very content with my views, and I don't try to enforce my views on other people. I don't, or anything. You know what I mean? If people come to know me and I show them my hobbies and show them what I'm interested in, they either like it or they don't. And I have to accept that. You know what I mean? And in order to have, and I do understand how good relationships work, which is one of the reasons why I hardly have any. I don't have any at this point, okay? I don't have any relationships outside of my, I don't have any, okay? Because once you're a victim of this particular illegal activity, people turn away from you because it's a form of propaganda, okay? So I don't have any people in my life. I have people that I've met recently that, want to get to know me, but I'm going to keep my barriers up because this whole issue has been very traumatizing for me, and I have to protect my space. So I have to get to know people before I open up to them, you see. I am a very peaceful person. I don't like to enforce my ideas and views on people. Some people think just because you're living your life differently than other people, that is some sort of statement that you are basically flipping the bird to people and it's a form of rebellion. This is not rebellion. It's not rebellion. Everything that goes on in my life is a result of what happened in my past, okay? The reason why I struggle is because it's a result of my past. Some of it was my fault. A lot of it was more the fact that I was raised in a family that tended to scapegoat me. I'm not saying I'm not taking responsibility for any of it, because obviously I am at fault for some of it, okay? The thing is that I've given people fuel to add to the fire, okay? I had a child out of wedlock. Okay, and even though I'm sure God has gotten over it long time ago, some people will always say, well, she did this 20-something years ago, so this makes her a bad person, and we're going to paint her as a bad person for always and eternity. Well, that's their choice, okay? I can't change that. Okay, I've made efforts to put a roof over my son's head when he was younger. I did what I had to do. I put up with more abuse than I had to, unnecessarily, okay? Now, just to take care of my son, I took the responsibility, what I had to do, to the best of my ability to provide for my son, okay? And that's all I can do, you know what I mean? I don't regret having him, even Some people would say, yeah, I would say if you're going to have a child and you're going to bring a child in this world, ideally you want to have enough emotional stability for that child. You want to make sure that they have, hopefully, you got a mother and a father in there who are going to take an active participation in that child's life. Sometimes it's not that way. Things don't always work out, the way that we want them to. It's not a Dick and Jane book. Okay, it's not a fairy tale. It's not, everything's not as ideal as we want them to be, but you do the best you can. And I will say that there's a lot of women who are single mothers who are doing it. I mean, they are doing a great job raising their children. We tend to look at the woman all the time and blame her for everything. Nobody ever takes anything out on the guy. And I'm not saying that, this particular person should be beat up or anything like that, but I did it on my own. Okay, I did it on my own. And I'm not looking for a pat on the back. I'm just saying is how long does a person have to be, how long does a person have to sit here and suffer a consequence for something they did a long time ago? You know what I mean? Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't want to name names or anything, but I'm just basically talking about this situation and how we tend to paint people out to be things that they're not. I think people paint me out to be somebody who breaks up relationships. I know that that's not true. I think there's a lot of rumors circulating about me about, I don't know, that they might be rumors about me seeing somebody. I'm not saying anybody. I mean, I think that this whole gang stalking operation in general is not a very effective one. Why do I say that? Because there's always sorts of inconsistencies, and you can tell that a lot of it's based on rumor. Okay, I rarely leave my house. Rarely. Okay, I rarely leave. And when I do, I'm out there for a purpose. You know what I mean? I'm either, whatever. Yesterday, I went to the park. Yesterday, okay? And it was nice. I went and looked at the body of water. I went to the little lake area, and I just kind of sat there, and I did some thinking. And it was very peaceful. It was very calming, very soothing. But I will tell you what, the majority of the time, Maria is at home. Okay? Maria is home, and she only leaves the house when she has to. Okay, so I don't, I think, the rumors just get a little bit out of hand, and I'm not saying anybody. I'm not communicating with anybody. I don't send text messages to any men. I don't get phone calls from men. I'm not doing anything like that. I think some people, they think, because I don't even say I dress nice. Not really on my own time, but I wear things that are in my closet. And most of the day, today I'm wearing jeans and I'm wearing a shirt and a sweater. That's pretty much what I wear every day lately. You know what I mean? I might change my shirt every day, but I've been wearing jeans for the same jeans for a week. Okay, so I'm not dressing up. But if somebody wears something nice every once in a while, that doesn't mean anything. I think women have it really hard. We have it very, very hard. And the reason why I say that is because, being a woman, we like to decorate. We like to do certain things. And every time we do something, it's always questioned. And it shouldn't be questioned. This is our feminine nature to enjoy certain things. And it has nothing to do with any of that at all. You know what I mean? For example, I talk about making my bed every day. I'm not going to have any company. Nobody's going to come in and look at my bedroom and judge me on how well it's kept or anything like that. No one's going to see my bedroom, okay? But I make sure every day that my bedroom is clean. If there's too much clutter on the desk, I'm going to put it away. If I don't like leaving the house without my bed made, okay, although I rarely leave the house, but you know what I mean. I don't like to even start any day activity without my bed being made. Why? It's not for everybody. It's not for anyone. It's for me. It's for me. For example, this shirt, okay, which I got at Walmart about 6 months ago, last summer, I guess it was. I saw this shirt at Walmart. It was $5.88, okay? And I said, I like the little flowers on that. I'm getting it. It didn't cross my mind as to think, gee, I wonder, is so-and-so going to like it? Is this person going to like it? Are they going to find me attractive? I don't think about those things. I think this is a red-based shirt. It's pleasant looking. It's a great price, $5.88. I'm getting that shirt, right? But, sometimes we like to try to guess the intentions of other people. And, just because, and I'm an older woman, and people think, well, don't you want a relationship? And I've already gone through this all over again. The answer is that's not something that rolls around my brain. It just doesn't, okay? When you are in a situation where you have to survive and you got to take care of yourself, that becomes the first priority. Do I have a lot of faith in relationships? I'm going to say no. I don't. I don't have faith in relationships, or any relationship really at all. I mean, obviously, look, my family scapegoated me, okay? And their actions continually show that they scapegoat me. They don't know how to. A lot of people don't. They don't know how to really show their concern without being forceful, without being abusive. That's a lot of people. You know what I mean? Some parents love their kids, but you know what? The minute their kid does something, they're quick to smack that kid across the mouth, whether that's justified or not. So that, it's not something that I think about. What I think about is I need to take care of myself. You know what I mean? Especially since I just recently got divorced about a year ago. On October. Yeah, I've been divorced for over a year now. So it's not like, I'm going to, especially when people have, well, this is one of the issues, but not the main issue. But, it's like, I guess maybe it's customary, or a lot of people, once they leave a relationship, they go right back into another one. I don't advise that. I'm not saying that people shouldn't get into relationships. It's not a priority with me, okay? But when some people, they get out of a relationship and then they jump right back into another one. And I always think, my goodness, don't you realize there are lessons to be learned from all of that? You're just going to jump right back in and do that? If that's what you want to do, that's fine, okay? But that's not for me. And I don't like other people judging me based on that. You know what I mean? What I do in my life, I do it for me. It has nothing to do with anything. Just like the little shirt that I bought for $5.88. I always remember the prices that I spend on it too. I'm like, this is $5.88. I didn't think about anybody or anything when I bought that shirt. I really didn't. I saw some canvas shoes, which I purchased on a website that was advertised, and they were a good price. They were like $10. They were canvas shoes, and they had a cute little design on it, and they were comfortable. Okay, that they pleased me. My eyes were pleased when I saw them. They were comfortable, meaning that I could walk in them without blisters on my feet. And I thought, those are nice shoes, and they were made in China. Okay. And I thought, I'm going to get those shoes. It never crossed my mind as to who's going to see me in those shoes. Am I going to attract somebody? And it didn't do that. Okay. And I think people always guess or try to figure out or add stories to the intentions of what women do. And for this reason, women have it very hard. Okay. Because women like certain things, just like the woman who liked perfume. She just believed that her body shouldn't stink, okay? So she wore perfume all the time. Didn't mean anything to anybody, but some people think, oh, she's trying to get a man. It's not true. It's not true. We have it, I would say women have it harder than anyone else because we have these, people put expectations on us that shouldn't be on there. Like, we are our own people. We have our own ideas, our own desires, our own whatever. And then people want to add stories to it when that's not true. I don't question why a woman bleaches her hair. Maybe she looked in the mirror and it's like, I'm bored. And sometimes doing certain changes to ourselves gives us motivation to do something different. I used to know, I never really could do much with my hair, okay? But I knew when I was younger, sometimes parting it in a different direction kind of gave me an incentive to do something different. I know it's silly, okay? But it was like, well, people need change. And sometimes women change. They want to change. They want to do something different. Some people want to blight. I used to know a lady who had very long hair, and I thought, man, she's got this gorgeous hair. And it was thick hair, too. She was a white lady. She decided to cut it all off. And I kept thinking, why would you do that? You had the most beautiful hair in the world. That was her choice. She was tired of it. It was weighing her down. She wanted something different, and she had every right to. Does she need to explain that to anybody? She shouldn't have to. She shouldn't have to. You know, and I know people gossip, they talk, they want to make up stories. I will tell you that all the stories that you're probably hearing about me are probably fake, made up, or whatever, because they're not true. So anyway, about me being content with my spirituality, I don't try to enforce my beliefs on other people, but I will say when people try to use religion against me and all these sort of stuff, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm typically pretty quiet about my religious views and how I see things, mainly because I understand when you talk about politics, when you talk about religion, you talk about this in an open forum, you are asking for it, okay? Why? Because some people, even though they don't really understand the background of their religion, how things originated, why they're even a part of it, some people are in religions only because their parents are in it. When you ask them, what is the foundation of religion? How did it start? Who started it? Where, why do you have the foundation? Where does your foundation of your belief actually stem from? They will not be able to tell you. Because all they know is, I was raised in this particular faith, and they will never be able to tell you why. Okay? That's not good enough for me. Okay? So, but yet they're willing to basically kill you for not believing as they do. Okay? So I'm basically saying, because I understand when you start using religion as a criteria for employment, for social acceptance, whatever, you're asking for problems. I think a lot of people don't really understand the serious nature of something like this. If you are somebody who works in any sort of social service industry, if you are a psychologist, if you have any sort of understanding on how social science works, you should have known that this shit was wrong from the very get-go. Okay? You do not throw that out in any social circle. If there was about 100 people crammed in my house for a little party, okay, and the minute I started talking about religion, I'm going to step on people's toes. You know what I mean? I'm going to step on people. I guarantee it. I'm going to step on people's toes. Why? Because not everybody has the same religious views. They just don't. And it causes discord. It does. Like I said, it was something that I really, truly resent. Somebody bringing that up and thinking that should have been, it was a selfish thing. So anyway, I'm glad so far I'm not really bringing up too many people's names or even bringing in names at all. I'm just thinking about, how I want peace in my life. Like I don't like to argue. I don't like to debate. I don't. And even though I know when I was younger, people always wanted me on the debating team. I look back and I think people are like, you should be on the debating team. And I remember when I was at work about 10 years ago, this guy wanted to start a political issue argument with me. He goes, come on, Maria, I know you have it in you to make a stand. I know that you have opinions. I know that you do. I want to hear them. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't want to be a part of what goes on out in the world. I don't want to develop that mindset. That is the worst thing that it would be for me. Now, some people, you want to do it, you go right ahead. You go right ahead, talk about politics, talk about who you're going to vote for, whatever. You do those sort of things. It's not for me. Okay? And I know that people kind of, that's a big part of people's lives. I realize that. I respect that. That's their choice. It's not a part of mine. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to be a part of mine. So, today, this video is called Humility Through Spirituality, is basically my way of saying that if you are happy with your religious views, if you are content with your religious life, your views, your lifestyle in general, the things that fill you up, you like your hobbies, you like your, I don't know, the little ritualistic things that you do in your house. Like you might wake up in the morning and you might empty out the dishwasher. You might make your bed. You might go into your children's room and start tidying up. You might do these sort of things, and you are a firm believer in your little regimented life and how you do things, okay? And some people, they might not want to make up their bed at all. They want to hit the ground running. They want to throw on their clothes. They want to get out the house, and they just want to go out and socialize, go to a coffee place and have some coffee, socialize, whatever. These things that you like to do, that you find empowering or that gives you a sense of peace of mind or whatever, this is your world. your world, okay? It should not have, it's not a conflict. It's not an issue that deserves any debate. You know what I mean? You might wearing Puma tennis shoes, okay? Do they still make Pumas? I don't even know. I don't know anymore. But you might like your Puma tennis shoes, and you might be a firm believer on how they support your arches and how great they make you walk, how versatile they are, and somebody might like Nikes, okay? And you might have a certain arrogance because you're so confident about your Pumas, okay? But you still don't have the right to force your Pumas down other people's throats, okay? Because just as much as you love your Pumas, somebody likes their Nikes or their off-brand that they got at Walmart, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, I've seen some petty things that have gone on throughout the course of my gang stalking and my targeting. And, and I chose to not engage myself in it. Instead, I tried to just keep moving. And so it's not enough for them. So they want to, create situations where they start toying with your employment. And I will say, this is where, you have to stand up for yourself, because that's wrong. It's wrong when you do this sort of thing. And I want people to understand what gang stalking, what human trafficking is, what a workplace mobbing is, and the barbaric behavior that goes on in some workplaces, okay? There are some managers, they are rare, I will say, but there are some managers who have it under control. They will not tolerate this sort of childishness, fuckery, if that's what you want to call it, because they understand some people can get out of control, and things can easily get out of control. All they have to do is allow have management even agree with it just a little bit. Okay, it is a bullying environment in the world in general. Okay, but a good productive company is not going to be a part of that sort of stuff in any way, shape, or form. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a company that is competent, somebody who appreciates hard work, because that's what I want to do. I want to earn my living in my life. I want to make a decent living, meaning I want to go to work, do my job, and come home. Okay, I'm not interested in dealing with matchmaking or trying to force relationships down my throat or anything like that. I would prefer to be in an environment where people can cooperate and work harmoniously, And it's sad because this to me makes a statement that a lot of people really don't appreciate hard work. And also I want to talk about that people might perceive me as being boring. I'm not a boring person. I actually am very outgoing, very talkative. I like making jokes about anything and everything. I'm actually a very goofy, outgoing person. Seriously, okay? But when you are dealing with something like this, it brings out a side of you that, quite frankly, I am bored with. I'm bored with myself. I can't even tell you. But no, I'm not a boring person. I think some people want to have fun at my expense, and because it puts me in a situation where it deprives me of my financial resources, my privacy, all of these sort of things. And of course, you're going to be angry about these sort of things. And so when you bring up the fact that you're being harassed and they're like, oh, but we're just having fun, take it easy. It's not fun to be out of a job. It's not fun to sit here and try to figure out how you're going to catch up with your bills. Or it's not fun when somebody else has to take over your bills for a while and they are younger than you. Okay? It is very hurtful and painful, you know what I mean, to have to deal with this over and over again, all because I don't find their joke funny. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's funny at all. So you can't expect me to just take it easy and find humor in it. I can't find any humor in it. You know what I mean? And if you look at me back in 15 years ago, I was a person who was always happy to get up from work, even though things would get shitty after a while, okay? Because one thing you don't do when people are arranging your jobs and they fucking hate you is don't enjoy your job, because the minute they see that you're enjoying your job, then that's when they're going to intensify it and make it miserable for you. But still, I was the kind of person, I would get up, I get dressed in the morning, I would go to work, always happy. I go and talk to people, go sit in my work, get my desk, and I was ready to dig in. Seriously, I loved everything about working, okay? From the social aspect of it to the actual working of it. When somebody gave me a project, I enjoyed doing it, and I challenged myself, and I enjoyed the entire thing. I really, really, really did. Okay, I enjoyed working. But when you dealt with the workplace mobbing and the childish behavior and all of this, then you're like, whoa, I understand when everyone else was having fun, thinking that this was just a game and this was something lighthearted. I knew exactly what it was and what it could become. Okay. And because in the past, people rarely saw my serious side, rarely. Okay. They thought, well, she doesn't know what she's talking about. They think of themselves as far more educated, more knowledgeable than me, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, they didn't have to pay attention to what I was saying. Okay. But here we are, right? Here we are. I just left a job that was done illegally and put me in a situation where I don't even have unemployment benefits, okay? So I will tell you, this sort of behavior, and I was right after all, okay? I was right all along, okay? Don't discount things that come from people. Especially what bothers me so much is the fact that this had everything to do with my life, okay? Like, this had everything to do with me, and yet people were forcing and bullying me against my will. Like, I kept saying, I don't agree with this. This is me. This is something you have no right to do. And then they continue. I felt like I was being raped the entire time. And I still have that issue to where I have these issues, the psychological issues that I'm dealing with because somebody did what they did. Okay, it's not a good thing. It's a very barbaric thing to do, and that's one of the reasons why it's against the law. So anyway, if you're happy where you are spiritually, if you enjoy your religion, I hope that you live your religion. Okay, if somebody is a person who is on the wrong path, I hope that you can demonstrate that you are truly a spiritual person walking in the path of Jesus Christ, so that these people can look at you and say, you know what? You got your stuff together. I hope that you have a true love of God and not just looking for what you can get out of it. I hope that you understand that if you are somebody who believes that you're going to heaven and that you truly have a good relationship with God, that you should feel better about yourself and feel confident in your way of living, and don't have to try to impress another human being because you have it all under control. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope everyone in Bakersfield has a wonderful working day, and that you have learned from this lesson and why it's important to keep information confidential. Okay? This could happen to anybody. And oftentimes it does. I mean, I've seen managers get upset with an employee and say things like, or I remember a manager boastfully saying that he just got off the phone with a guy, a potential employer, and the things that he said about this guy, and he's like, yeah, he's never going to get a job again. I'm going to make sure. And I thought, I didn't say anything at the time because, I was fairly young at the time. No, I wasn't that young, but I was like in my 30s or whatever, and I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything, but I knew that this is wrong, and what he was doing was illegal, okay? There's a lot of managers that don't belong in the positions that they're in. They just don't. And they create these sort of things. They perpetuate these sort of things, and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. So I implore, business owners to take a little bit closer look at their managers and know that if they have this sort of bullying behavior and you have a high rate of turnover, this is one of the reasons why. And you should be concerned because your company's reputation is on the line. This is not how you treat other people. I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with another video some other time later. Take care. Bye-bye.